Dude, that's skeevy.
After that, she just walked back to her office and shut the door, like almost slamming it.
Maybe she's not a fan of you queer types.
Carl puts on a southern drawl for the last bit. I step out of the car and pop the trunk, moving to gather up my equipment. The sun is starting to get pretty low at this point. There's not really any tall mountains to the east, so Echo's sunsets seemed to last a while. Maybe? But she seemed alright with Flynn. Carl follows suit, though his eyes are still glued to his phone.
I can't get over the whole "there's a boy in your car" bit.
Yeah, she seemed kinda, I don't know, weirded out with me or something. But she wasn't like that when we met. She was pretty cordial then. As I shut the trunk, I spy Flynn's truck parked behind the house, as well as what looks like a faded yellow moped. I'm assuming that one is his roommate's.
Huh.
The Ram shrugs.
You are kinda weird. Maybe you did that staring thing you do sometimes?
I blink. The what?
Never mind, man.
I frown. Carl looks up from his phone long enough to catch my expression.
I'm just kidding. Just making fun of Flynn's whole dressing you down back at the river.
Carl smirks. His eyes are no longer glazed over, and it actually feels like he's looking at me rather than 1,000 miles away. We make our way up to the front door, Carl tapping away at his phone.
Hard to imagine my house was even bigger back in the day, though. My parents already have more rooms that they know what to do with. Like, we've got 3 spare bedrooms, right? But we never have any guests or anything. So they don't get used and just gather dust and stuff.
Do your parents make you clean them? Idly wiping his hooves upon the rough palm fiber floor welcome mat.
Sometimes.
Knowing Carl, that means pretty much never. Once inside, the familiar, hot, stuffy climate hits like a wool blanket thrown around me. What sounds like some sort of lo-fi hip-hop is playing in the background from what I assume is Daxton's room. The interior is dimly lit with the exception of a bright, white light coming from the ajar fridge. Daxton stands next to it, holding a block of pale cheese. Is this what you need? The salamander seems to be peering at us expectantly. No? He raises a brow ridge, craning his neck to look past us. Talking to Flynn. The Gila's large self steps out of the laundry room beside us, looking to Daxton. Oh, sorry. Carl gives me a sidelong smirk.
That's the provolone. The recipe needs Havarti.
Flynn steps past us without much acknowledgement, moving to the kitchen beside Daxton. We have a block of Havarti, but it's in the freezer.
There's this thing called a defrost setting on the microwave.
Yeah, but you left the fish you caught all on top of it.
The pack is sealed. That shouldn't matter.
The whole freezer kinda reeks.
Like I said, the package is sealed. That shouldn't matter.
With a shrug to Carl, I move in and set my equipment down next to the kitchen island. I take a seat on one of the wicker-topped bar stools. Carl lingers in the entryway a bit before moving to sit on the stool next to mine. Flynn wordlessly goes to the fridge and grabs 2 bottles of light beer, popping the tops and setting them down in front of us. Thanks.
I'm not 21 yet legally, you know.
Flynn shrugs uncaringly before getting a beer for himself. Looking around, the countertops are pretty free of clutter beyond some Mesa Community College letters and a heavily used black notebook. The notebook is labeled World Building and Fictional History 204. A few water stains have shriveled the edges of the pages. Daxton places the provolone back into the fridge and places the allegedly fishy Havarti on a plastic cutting board. Meanwhile, Flynn is now at the sink washing vegetables. Daxton grabs a small knife and finally glances back at me. "Welcome back, Chase." I wave a bit, limp-wristedly. "Hey." He smiles, then shifts his gaze to Carl. The Ram looks up from his phone a little apprehensively. "And hey, I've seen you before, but I forget your name, Sam. Sam something?"
"Carl?"
He answers, his voice quiet. "Oh. Well, good to meet you. Usually you're kinda in and out of here real quick like when you do come by." Carl shrugs.
"Yeah, same."
The Ram's gaze flicks back to his phone, Carl typing something. Daxton frowns slightly before shifting his focus back to cheese cutting. Looking over, it looks like he's texting. The contents of said message being XJKHKJHS HJKHS. I'm not reading all that. Just typing random shit. Carl, you're so funny.
"Hey, Carl."
Flynn looks over his shoulder, scraping out what looks like a cucumber.
"You got your outfit packed for the interview on Saturday?" "Yup."
Wait, what? Carl, you have a job interview?
"Yup."
I find myself smiling a bit. Carl didn't tell me about this at all. I'm surprised he didn't mention it earlier. "That's great! Where at?" Carl stops typing, his lips pulling a bit tighter around the edges of his muzzle.
"It's in Peyton. Peyton Print and Design. I'd be like printing copies and making people posters."
"Oh, the print shop by the mall? I know of it. What do they pay?"
"Minimum wage. Not that it matters, though."
Daxton looks slightly confused. I turn to him. Carl's parents are pretty well off. Flynn stops what he's doing, going to the fridge and taking out a box of strawberry popsicles. He drops it down on the counter beside Daxton, the salamander startling some. Looking to Flynn, then the box. Flynn points to the Hen's Ice Cream label above a logo of a weather vane with a chicken on it.
"Carl's parents' company."
Daxton lets out an astonished huff, looking for some sign of fib on Flynn's muzzle. "No way!"
"Way, I'm the ice cream boy."
Daxton blinks, seeming to look at Carl in a new light. "That's really cool." Carl looks off to the side, then back to Daxton.
"Glad you think so, I guess."
Flynn takes the popsicles back to the freezer, returning to his station at the sink.
"Just make sure the clothes you got all fucking fit right. Can't remember the last time I saw you dressed up." "It fits, dude. My parents drag me to all sorts of black tie event stuff, where I have to stand around and lie about my career goals." "You haven't done that in ages." "I went to the charity gala thing 2 years ago." "You mean 20 pounds ago?" "Most of it's muscle." "I'm not calling you fat, lard-ass. I'm saying that when it comes time for the interview, and you come in with a hoodie and cargo pants, they're gonna think you don't give a fuck. I mean, I kinda don't, you know? Oh, the fuck you don't! You really looking forward to disappointing the shit out of your folks again? They're used to it. Jesus fucking Christ.
Daxton and I exchange an awkward glance. I'm half tempted to follow Carl's lead and start pretend texting.
You worked at the freight warehouse for years and were miserable. Can't blame me for not looking forward to the same sort of thing.
Carl feigns a raspy chuckle, though by the jittering of his hooves against a barstool, it's apparent he's tense.
And now I have my own house.
I see his slitted gaze shift briefly to Daxton, who looks like he's concentrating very hard on cheese cutting.
Mostly. And print design, that's basically working with all the same computer shit you do for your art crap.
Seeming to note an opportunity to defuse, Daxton chimes in. You're an artist, Carl?
Shit. By, like, the loosest definition of the term, I guess.
Flynn just rubs his temple some, shifting his attention back to cooking. He places the freshly washed vegetables into a metal pot on the stove with one of those steamer lid things on top. What kind of art? You, don't seem like the oil-based pastoral type. Carl blinks. I hear Flynn grunt derisively, the clicking of the stovetop audible as he turns the nozzle for the gas. His heavy tail flicks behind him, lightly slapping the floor. I realize he's trying to get my attention. His eyes meeting mine, then moving to Daxton, and finally flicking to a textbook by the dishwasher. Art History 101, Historical Perspectives and Fundamentals. Glancing back, I think I see the corner of Flynn's mouth twitch up at me before he turns back around to his pot of veggies. It's still kinda weird seeing Flynn in a work outfit all the time. In high school, he was more of a jeans and jacket kind of guy. A southwestern rockabilly who didn't like rock and roll. His work slacks are pretty baggy and definitely hide the definition of his legs. Flynn's got a V-shaped physique through and through, narrow calves but thicker thighs, and a sizable rump. When he bends forward a little, I can see the outline of it all. The lewd side of my mind is starting to wonder if he's doing it on purpose. But why would he, after what he said this morning?
Pastorals? I'm not very good at backgrounds or anything.
Portraiture, then? Very snazzy stuff, that. The salamander smiles at Carl, showing his rounded cheeks. Carl just looks at him confused. I decide now is a good time to interject and spare Carl from Daxton's entry-level college art class inquiries. Carl draws pop culture character stuff mainly, I think. I haven't really checked out his portfolio profile in a while. Superheroes, comics, that sort of thing. It's really good stuff.
It's not.
He pauses, shifting his phone in his paws akin to rolling putty.
Since superheroes became really popular, everyone draws that stuff now. Most better than me. It's kind of a dead-end style, I guess. Can't make any money from anything I make.
Carl sounds more like he's quoting something rather than stating an actual opinion. Daxton raises a brow, nodding in acknowledgement. There's a pause, the only sound the bubbling of boiling water and Daxton's knife hitting the plastic cutting board. Well, not if you draw them with their clothes off. The salamander tries to put on his most innocent face. That lasts for about 3 seconds before breaking into a wry smile at Carl's groaning, the ram taking a long swig from his beer. He's grinning too now, though.
Everyone online tells me that, but I don't know, man. Every time I try to draw Chaos Wolverina's tits, they just look like big-ass furry eyes stuck to her chest.
Daxton laughs, and I find myself chittering a bit too. You could try drawing guys instead, if women are giving you too much trouble.
You'd like that, wouldn't you, Chase?
I don't like superhero stuff that much. Well, I wouldn't judge you if you did, Carl. I've written a few awkward sex scenes in my day.
You're a writer?
That I am. At least, trying to be. I'm taking creative writing courses at Mesa to get better. The folks really wanted me to go into marketing like them, but I'm not really into it.
That's lucky.
I'm having to go into debt, so I'm not sure if I'm that lucky. Hopefully one of the books I'm working on sells well.
Most people don't read these days.
The salamander places the cut-up cheese upon slices of rye bread, then puts the bread on a cooking tray, sighing as he looks to Flynn. Not everyone can suffice off of coming home from work and staring at the wall for hours like you, Flynn. Some people like some degree of mental input, yeah? What? Flynn flicks the stove top off, his eyes lulled and his brow ridge furrowed. Daxton passes him with the tray of rye and Havarti, sliding it into the oven.
You call the shit you write mental input?
The Gila stops what he's doing, squinting at Daxton.
Did you defrost the Havarti, or did you seriously just spend the past 15 minutes cutting into a frozen block of cheese?
This side of the house is like an oven with the habitat running like it is. The cheese warmed up on its own after a while at room temperature. Flynn throws up his hands, visibly exasperated.
It wouldn't have taken you 15 damn minutes to cut a few slices of cheese if you just defrosted it.
Are you in a rush or something? What do you mean about him staring at the wall for hours? The salamander looks standoffish now, his arms crossed. My question seems to have been ignored.
Might be. Daxton, what sort of stuff do you write?
Surprisingly, Carl is the one to butt in this time. Daxton turns, getting out some plates. Mainly science fiction and fantasy. You know Adastra, right? Carl takes another drink of beer, rubbing his beard in thought.
Sorta? I don't really watch it myself. It's that space exploration starship show from the 60s with the sexy aliens.
Daxton snaps his fingers. Yes, that's the one.
People draw a lot of porn of them.
I am aware. Anyway, I used to watch it a lot with my little brother growing up. I got into the whole peace in the cosmos through science thing, something fierce. The stories for each episode were based on real science. The salamander finishes setting out the plates, bumping his fists together and smiling a bit sheepishly. I'm taking a few physics and engineering courses at Mesa to try and better understand it all for my own writing.
Makes sense.
I also really like the whole diplomacy part. The ultimate goal of all first contacts was peace and learning. You don't really see that much anymore.
Yep.
Like, this one episode from Season 6 of Frontier is a really good example of that, and it really inspires a lot about what I'm writing in my story. My phone vibrates in my pocket. A message from Leo.
Hey, you're not at the motel?
A sort of sinking feeling takes hold in my chest. I can feel Flynn looking at me from over the counter as I type my reply. With Carl, Daxton, and Flynn, about to eat dinner. When I look up again, Daxton is still chatting away to Carl about the Adastra episode, but I'm not really paying attention anymore. He's serving up the steamed vegetables and the fancy cheese bread fresh from the oven. The bread looks a little burnt around the edges, but maybe it's supposed to be that way.
Of course you are.
My fingers reflexively squeeze tighter on my phone. Flynn quietly walks around the counter, stepping behind me to look over my shoulder. At first, I think he's going to say something, but he doesn't. He's silent. With a sharp exhale, I begin typing my reply. We can all hang out tomorrow. Found some interesting stuff for my project at City Hall. Flynn makes a noise, though I can't really tell whether it's of encouragement or disapproval.
Need to talk to you one-on-one.
I reply. About what? Leo responds almost instantly.
You know exactly what.
At this point, I realize Carl's looking over at my screen as well. I'd call him and Flynn both out for being rude were this any other time. Daxton, meanwhile, just looks at us with a concerned expression on his face. What's up?
Don't worry about it.
Carl and Flynn both look at me expectantly as my thumbs hover over the reply button. Should I even respond at this point? I have no clue what he could have found out about Flynn and I, if that truly is what he means. Leo's never really been good at getting his point across through text. He failed many in English class growing up. He always preferred to talk face to face, so maybe if I can be convinced enough in person, he won't be so worried. Or maybe I should just tell the fucking truth. I hate this. I'm not even sure I did anything wrong, but I can't help but feel like garbage. And now my pseudo-infidelity lying game is becoming a spectacle. I decided I might as well respond with at least a somewhat true response now. No? I shoved my phone back in my pocket, and Flynn steps back.
This is so fucking stupid.
Carl just looks at Flynn with a flat expression.
What?
Carl shrugs.
Like I said to Chase earlier, man. I won't say anything.
Daxton quietly chews on his very crunchy cheese bread, looking at us from the other side of the counter. Drama?
Yep.
He moves from my side to back over around the kitchen island, grabbing his plate of food and taking a big mouthful of broccoli. You all want to watch some Adastra? The salamander smiles awkwardly, gesturing to the small living room area.
I'm down.
Carl holds up his bottle of beer before taking a swig. Chance? Flynn? I sigh. Usually TV is a bit too passive for me when I'm trying to get my mind off stuff. Most often I turn to video games instead. Still, Daxton seems pretty passionate about all this. I guess it can't hurt? Sure. Though, all I've ever seen of it are a few of the movies, I think. Oh? Which ones? The ones with all the lens flare and chrome? Daxton looks as if a bad taste just settled on his palate. The Tommy brothers directed those ones. They tried way too hard to be edgy and action-packed. Completely ignored proper characterization. Like Lieutenant Gamakra firing the plasma emitter at the Forbestian ambassador, she's completely nonviolent in the original series. She took a vow of peaceful resolution following the violence cascade that destroyed her home world in the first season. But the writers just thought it would look cool for the trailers if they showed her disintegrating a guy while screaming her head off. I really like the thought-provoking, philosophical stuff, not the protagonist running around killing people. Daxton huffs, rubbing his fist against his smooth brow. I am not sure exactly how to respond. Yeah, that's pretty not great when that happens. I like the space battles, though. Of course. They were made to appeal to a casual audience. I blink. Daxton quickly holds up his hands, his eyes widening. Oh, I didn't mean it as an insult or anything. No offense taken. I offer him a reassuring nod, taking a bite of the steamed veggies. They certainly taste fresh. Flynn must have gotten these in Peyton.
Nathan's stuck having to deal with us filthy casuals tonight.
Again, sorry, that's not what I meant.
No, I know what you mean. You dig it because you grew up with the original shit, and you have all sorts of fuzzy feelings about it.
I'm kind of surprised to hear Flynn chime in. Yeah, I mean, looking back, the original series is pretty dumb and cheesy.
But it wasn't for you when you were a kid, or the tit-dirts who watched it back in the 60s. Yeah, dude. Back when we were kids, Leo's dad would get us all a bunch of random VHS tapes from the thrift shop in Colville every now and then. Like, really dumb kung fu movies or straight-to-video slasher flicks. It didn't even matter if they were R-rated. Sometimes on summer nights, we'd gather at Leo's place and watch a bunch of them until almost morning. They were all terrible, but it was great.
I find myself smiling a bit. I'd almost forgotten about all that. Oh, jeez. Flynn would always get super into them. He would yell at the screen every time the characters did something stupid. Carl chuckles into his paw, grinning toothily at the Gila.
Oh man, you'd get so butthurt. You'd start stomping around and slamming Leo's cabinets until you got in trouble.
Flynn looks off to the side. If lizards could blush, I'm almost certain he'd be doing so now.
Whenever there was someone with a gun on screen, they never had any trigger discipline. And completely held their guns wrong. And every time, every movie, someone was being chased by some killer or whatnot. They completely forgot how to run.
Oh yeah, you kept count of how many times everyone tripped. You had a little notepad with your trip tally. Daxton looks absolutely tickled by this revelation about Flynn. That sounds hilarious. I wish I had friends like you growing up so that I could do that sort of thing. Flynn waves dismissively.
It was alright. I remember we could never do it when TJ was around. Satanic propaganda and all that, right? He could have been fine with it if we eased him into it. We could start him off with Bloodfire Babes of Babylon.
Carl nods sagely, sipping at the last bit of his beer before getting up to retrieve another from the fridge. So, Flynn, do you wanna...
Yeah, maybe.
Daxton looks pretty elated, the amphibian's slightly chubby cheeks puffed out some as he grins. I know of some really schlocky episodes from the first few seasons of the original series. I'll put those on.
Sounds good, dude.
Daxton sets his plate down, fast walking to the TV in the living room. After a moment, Carl looks over at me.
Nerd alert!
Flynn goes to slide his now empty plate into the sink, slapping Carl on the back of his head as he passes.
Fucking rich coming for your neckbeard ass. Hey! I mean it endearingly.
Across the room, Daxton waves at us. Hey, I think I got it. The internet's kinda slow out here, 'cause it's satellite, but it suffices. Flynn meanders on over, lounging on a love seat on the left side of the living room. His tall stature results in his legs hanging far over the edge, the lizard scratching his exposed chest with a yawn. He cranes his long neck to look back at me and Carl.
You two tits gonna sit all the way back there?
Hold on, I'm coming. Carl gives me a little nudge and we follow suit, beards in grasp. Looking at Flynn now, I realize that part of me wishes I could go over there and lay beside him. More practically, I sit in the recliner in the center of the room while Carl and Dax take the other sofa. Okay, so in this episode, Captain Amicus lands on our planet in the year 1968. He's looking for technology to stop an uprising in the future, but...
X, shut up! No spoilers, dude!
Alright, fine. Captain Amicus, the slime women! They're in the engine room!
This leaves me no choice. Cadet, activate self-destruct protocol Baker 19er.
But, Captain!
There's no time to debate! Get to the escape pods!
Captain! The results just came in! They aren't slime women, they're... cell women! They're multiplying as a result of some sort of cancer-like phenomenon.
By God, Cadet! This changes everything! Deactivate self-destruct protocol. If these are cells, then our ship is one sick patient. Cadet, flood engineering with radiation pulses at 3-second intervals. Maximum output! I still don't understand why the cell women have tits. Why are they women in the first place? Or why all the lady officers don't wear pants?
Carl takes another glug of his beer, this being his third so far from my count. I said I was going to show you the bad ones, guys. Daxton looks a bit defensive, leaning forward on the edge of a seat, his plump tail wrapped around the armrest. Carl idly chucks a throw pillow at the salamander.
I'm not complaining, dude.
He laughs a bit and Daxton eases, chucking it back at him with a bit more force. Carl takes a blow like a champ, in the regard that he doesn't even react beyond smiling goofily. It's surprising to see Carl comfortable like this around a stranger. I can't help but feel kinda happy he can still come out of his shell every now and then.
It's fucking bomb. How does anyone take this shit seriously?
They don't. We certainly aren't. I glance over toward Flynn, who's digging in his pockets for his phone. He taps the unlock button, squinting at the bright screen, the black and orange scales on his face seeming to glow silver and yellow in the light. I find myself leaning forward a bit, trying to read the tiny text on the screen. It takes me a moment to realize that Flynn isn't looking at the screen anymore. He's looking at me. He huffs, moving the screen away from my view before beginning to text something. Is it?
No, it's not Leo.
Flynn stares at his phone some, a sort of expectant expression upon his muzzle. Hey, I don't mean to be at all prying and such, but who's Leo? Daxton seems to be asking me this. My ex. Flynn glances back for a moment, though says nothing. Oh, Leo's a guy? "Mm, yes. Cool." The salamander frowns in an acknowledging fashion, nodding his head some before refocusing his attention back to the TV. Captain Amicus is in the midst of being attacked by the slime women. Even with the prosthetics and lighting, I can tell that all the slime women are actually just a bunch of amphibians in green body paint. Flynn's phone vibrates again. He taps at it, clearly not really much of a fast texter. After finishing his text, he hastily shoves the phone back into his pocket.
I'm heading out.
He pushes himself up from the couch, unruffling his shirt before meandering over toward a bowl on the kitchen to get his truck keys. Wait, what?
Oh, come on, slithead.
Daxton briefly smirks at Carl's turn before seconding. Yeah, this is actually pretty fun. Where are you going?
Out. You should get back to the motel before the others start bitching.
I feel my face grow hot, my fist starting to clench. Okay, maybe drop the mystery act, asshole? Flynn just heads off to the front door, swatting his tail against the kitchen island as he flicks me off as he exits. Flynn! He's out the door without further comment, and I can hear the chirping sound from his truck outside as he unlocks it.
Fucking moody, right?
Think something's up with him? Carl shakes his head.
Nah, he's just trying to look cool.
It isn't working.
Dude gets uncomfortable with casual social stuff, I think.
He's 25 years old. This is bullshit. I wish he'd just be straight with me. Daxton snickers, though quickly shakes his head, stifling it. What?
If he was being straight with you, you wouldn't be getting so pissed off about this, I think. Straight, as in you two not macking on each other.
I get it. I sigh, letting myself sink back into the suede fabric of my chair, it automatically reclining for me the more pressure I put upon it. I'm starting to regret Carl finding out about all this. If he didn't know, it wouldn't be so much of a thing. It would have been easier just to pretend it never even happened in the first place. And I wouldn't have to deal with lying to the guy I loved for most of my teenage life. I'm gonna hit play again, if that's alright. I'm staring at the ceiling now, but I can feel them both looking at me. Go ahead. I'm just gonna close my eyes for a little while, okay?
Gotcha, dude.
We'll wake you if something cool happens.
So, we'll wake you in the morning. Gonna get a beer, BRB.
I shut my eyes and hear the trademark Adastra music resume. A large paw gently pats my shoulder, followed by audible hoof claps on the kitchen floor behind me. I stare up at the unmoving ceiling fan above me. In the dark, everything looks all grainy. It seems like the lights are on, but the dimmer is so low they might as well not be. Must be a salamander thing. Speaking of, him and Carl aren't here anymore. I try to recollect how much time has passed since I closed my eyes. It feels like just a minute ago. As I rise to a stand, I feel kind of sluggish for some reason, like my legs are still asleep. My face feels kind of numb, too. I, I always feel worse after taking naps. I'm not really sure I get the appeal of taking them once a day like my mom does. Moving to the nearby window, I squint at my reflection. I look like hell. And who shaved off my goatee? I blink. It's still not there. I'm not that heavy of a sleeper, so I would have felt someone doing that. I don't think Carl's that cruel, is he? I turn, peering toward Daxton's room. His door is open, and his bed is empty. They left me here? Why? My phone vibrates in my pocket. It's Leo. I'm coming. What? I text him back, though I seem to have caught a case of the Flynn. My texting dexterity is awful right now. Everyone left. I think I'm alone at Flynn's now? While I'm at it, I also send a quick text to Carl and Flynn, asking them where they are. A vibrating noise comes from the kitchen after I send Flynn's text. He must have left it when he went out. When I walk in the kitchen, I see the phone propped up against the key bowl on the island countertop that Flynn swatted earlier. The screen's brightness illuminates everything around it with a picture of my face. It's low resolution, like he cropped and stretched it across from one of my social media pictures. The photo is from a class trip I took sophomore year to the Carburn Caverns. I'm wearing a hard hat that doesn't fit. The way the phone is propped up, it almost looks like it's on display. It's a weird way to place it. I know I shouldn't snoop through his phone, but if he wants to act all mysterious and dismissive, he's leaving me not much choice. Also, someone shaved my goatee off. That warrants enough of an emergency, I guess? I tap the screen and my message appears. I'm asking him where he is and telling him that everyone left. Tabbing back, I see one other message. The rest seem to have been deleted. It's from someone named Ryan. He has no given profile picture. The bar's at 33 South Ella Way, off of Hankley and Route 93. Winky face. Hankley and 93? I think that's by the casino near the edge of the reservation. I spent most of the day looking at a map of the county, so I think I have a good spatial sense of where it is now. The question is, why did Flynn leave this here with just this message on it? It's like he wanted me to find it. He wanted me to follow him. Jesus. Does he think I'm that much of a snoop? Because, apparently, I am. This time, it's my phone that buzzes. Another message from Leo. Hey. Huh? I type a quick response. Have to go. Sorry, Leo. I shove my phone back into my pocket and head outside. It's actually nippy out in comparison to the heat of the day. Sheet clouding covers about half the sky above, and there's a tinge of humidity in the air. Which is surprising. We usually get less than an inch of rain this time of year. Another text? Leo again. Are you serious? I sigh, putting my phone back and getting my keys out. I'll think of something and apologize later. I don't feel nearly as sluggish as I did before, thankfully. Once inside my car, I put the keys in the ignition, enough to keep the inside lights on while I fiddle with the GPS. 33 South Aloe Way. Got it. It looks like it'll be about a 22-minute drive, according to this thing.
Dude! Where are you going?
I look over. Carl and Daxton are staring at me through the passenger window, concerned expressions on their faces. Well, a concerned expression on Daxton's face. Carl just looks drunk. What? Where have you guys been? With you? Why the hell did you guys shave off my goatee?
Dude, are you, like, allergic to Havarti or something?
It was actually Gorgonzola. That Havarti Flynn wanted was sketchy. Carl smiles lopsidedly at Daxton.
Dastardly.
What are you... I reach up to grab my chin, feeling the familiar scruff of dark brown hair upon my paw pads. I feel my heart start to thump heavy in my chest. What the hell? Daxton opens the passenger door. You sure you should be driving? You're kind of wigging out, no offense. I angle the rearview mirror down toward me. Sure enough, there it is on my chin. I'm sorry, I could have sworn that was missing earlier. Well, you were sleeping. It could have been a nightmare.
I've read about all this stuff online. It's your subconscious playing out your deepest desires, man.
Carl slurred some, looking a mix of dazed and chipper. I don't think so, Carl. But look, are you guys coming with me? I think Flynn wanted us to follow him. Yeah, we saw the message. They did? I don't know. He's kind of a private guy. If we're wrong, he's going to be pissed.
We could think of it like an away mission.
Even in the dark, I can practically feel Daxton cringe. Oh, God, Carl.
Oh no. I'll go with you, but I'll hang back in the car.
I'm still a bit reeling from the whole facial hair fiasco, but the banter is making me feel better. Well, it could be tactical support. This is why I don't usually share my interests with other people. Carl clambers into the back seat first, nearly toppling over. Daxton climbs up front, a little tipsy, but he seems to have most of his motor functions intact. Luckily, I don't have classes on Fridays. I squint, trying to peer beyond what is illuminated by my headlights. Driving feels difficult right now. My nerves are kind of fried, tingling beneath my fur. I end up overcorrecting on every single turn. It doesn't help that the shitty state highway is so meandering and completely devoid of light. Out here, even the main stretches of road sidewind around the hills and mountains. I guess I'm used to Puebla where they just flatten or tunnel through everything. My issues right now might be stemming from the fact that I'm still a little inebriated. Fuck. I used to be so damn hard on Leo whenever he drank and drive, and now here I am. Maybe I should have brought my meds. They're right. In 1 mile.
Chase?
I loosen my grip on the wheel some, peering in the rearview mirror and catching the glint of Carl's green eyes looking back at me.
This feels familiar, don't it?
I furrow my brow. I'm not sure what he means.
We were both just starting high school.
Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. Carl doesn't respond, and a silence follows. He stares out his window with his gaze lulled, his phone sitting idle in his lap. Daxton's looking curiously at us now, though when neither of us speaks up, he goes back to picking at the planet print on his shirt. I feel kind of like I'm sneaking out to go to a party or something. He looks over at me with a slight smile. Well, we might be.
We're gonna arrive at this address and find Flynn in a gimp suit surrounded by a warehouse full of rubber ducks.
Carl lets out a quiet rumble of a snicker.
Yeah, man. This is all real familiar.
We pass the flat concrete pad where an old gas station once stood. Again, I think Carl was about to speak, but he says nothing. I don't get out much, you know? Around here, there's not much to get out to. The salamander rolls his shoulders, then shakes his head. I can always drive to Peyton. I've got my scooter. It just don't feel worth it, you know? I mean, not just gas or monetary reasons. It just isn't comfortable to be away from home. I've got basically everything I need. And I got that Prime delivery account that drops off groceries on my doorstep. It's weird how easy it is to feel like that's normal. I surround myself with TV, and books, and video games, and the fact that I'm alone in the middle of the desert doesn't even affect me. You've got Flynn for company, don't you? We keep to our separate sides of the houses, usually. Sometimes almost a whole week goes by without me actually seeing him.
There's always the internet, dude. You got online friends and all that stuff for gaming, right?
Daxton adjusts his seat, giving himself some more legroom. I post on a fan forum pretty regularly. I'm a moderator.
Let me guess. For
Adastra, yep.
Give me your phone.
Daxton blinks. What? Carl makes a grabby motion with his paw towards Daxton.
Just give it to me for 1 sec.
Daxton clutches his cell to his chest, looking uneasily toward the drunken ram.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna go through your messages or nudie pics. Who do you think I am? Chase?
That one stings a bit. Ass. Daxton slowly relents, keeping close eye on Carl as he gives him his phone. He taps at it in silence for about 15 seconds before passing it back.
There, you got me in your contacts. I also put my username for games and stuff if you ever want to play together on PC.
Oh, thanks. The salamander quickly checks the screen before looking back to Carl. I'll send you a message or something when I get home if you ever want a game. Or if I need to hook up with some ice cream. Carl makes a flubbering noise with his mouth.
Ice cream boy at your service, dude, man. Service.
Daxton titters some, shaking his head. Was just kidding with the last part. I would never do that. I mean, you must get sick of hearing that all the time. Carl shakes his head, even after he begins speaking.
Nah, I don't, tell people that shit very often because it's awk, you know? Though I totally will hook you up. I used to do that for Flynn and Leo, but then Flynn went on this whole health food bullshit. And Leo, I don't know, he stopped asking.
Veer right. My arms stiffen and I swerve onto the off-ramp with more gusto than I meant. I feel the other's eyes on me and I try to act casual. Looks like this is it up ahead. Kinda out in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? This isn't the reservation yet, right? I look toward the horizon. I can just make out the familiar glint of the Blue Diamond Casino past one of the rolling hills. Everything out here is in the middle of nowhere. But no, the reservation is on the other side of the casino. Do you guys ever go out there? No. I'm not much for gambling.
I bet gun skins on ranked matches online sometimes. That place is mainly for really old people packed in their RVs. Flynn and I were talking about it the other day. They paint the ceilings all blue sky colored, don't display any clocks, and simulate sunlight inside. Trick the seniors into staying longer.
That's messed.
Capitalism at its finest, dude, man.
Is that my nickname now?
What?
Dude, man?
It sounds like Daxton.
Most people default to Dax. Your destination is ahead in 400 yards. Carl seems like he is about to say something else, but quiet as we all see our destination. Oh, jeez. I turn off the road, the loosely packed gravel seeming to scatter under my tires. We're here. It's a long red building. The exterior is mostly dilapidated, the wood siding falling apart in places. I can see only 2 windows, both of which have colored construction paper blocking the view inside. There's no signage indicating what the hell the name of this place even is. Well, at least none right now. It looks like there is some broken neon lettering along the roof's edge, but I can't make out anything legible from it. There's about a half dozen cars parked behind the building. Flynn's truck is the only one out front. He's here, for sure. The salamander reaches into his pocket, and to my surprise, pulls out Flynn's phone. When did you grab that? Daxton cocks his head at me, holding up the phone. Right after we looked at it? I rubbed my forehead. Were Daxton and Carl really inside the house with me earlier and I just didn't notice them? You okay, Chase? Nervous about talking to Flynn?
Just pretend he's in his underwear. Then intimidate him with your erection until he's no longer mad at us for stalking him.
Ram nods sagely, giving me a bit of a serene look. I stare back at him.
That's how the gays work. I read it on the blog site.
He holds up his phone.
The one with all the gays.
I feel myself smirking a little. I'm fine, guys. Just had a weird nap earlier. Still getting my brain unfuzzed.
Cool, but,
Carl looks back toward the building.
I'm still gonna chill here in the car.
He clears his throat, sitting more upright.
Tactical support.
Daxton covers his face with his dark hands.
Cadet Hunter and Lieutenant Daxton, prepare to beam out.
Thanks, Captain Carl. Make sure to, scan for life signs and report any anomalies. Oh, God. Daxton exits the car in embarrassment.
Oh no, man! Lieutenant Daxton beamed out too early! His particles are destabilizing!
Jesus. I hear enough of this stuff moderating the roleplay stuff for him. I don't need to hear it. IRL. He walks up to one of the front windows, seemingly trying to peer inside through one of the gaps in the construction paper. I open the door, about to head out when I feel Carl's paw on my shoulder.
Hey, man.
I blink some, looking back at him. The parking lot light overhead gives his fur a sort of orangey appearance, and his eyes look blue.
You've been, really quiet tonight. I know I haven't been around you in 2 years, but you're still acting, I don't know, weird from what I remember.
Carl.
Just don't worry, okay?
He looks to the building.
You know how he gets, but overall, Flynn's cool.
He leans back in his seat, pulling up his phone. The illuminating blue light of the screen replaces the faint orange of the streetlight.
Just don't tell him I said that.
I exhale, smiling despite myself. All right, Carl. I turn around, pausing. I know you have your interview, but we should talk later. Catch up properly.
You know it, man.
And I'm glad you're getting on well with Daxton. Truly. I see him grinning in the rearview mirror.
It's weird. He's like someone I'd meet online, but like in real life, you know?
I'm not sure I follow.
Yeah, don't worry about it. They'll get murdered in there.
I smirk dryly. I'll try not to. I step out and nearly close the door on my tail. I must have been more distracted than I thought. Seeing Daxton against the side of the building, I can't help but think he looks downright eerie. He doesn't have scales like Flynn, so he's just this rubbery black color that blends into the shadows, as specious as that sounds. When he turns his head towards me, his eyes stick out like headlights in the night. Hey, Chase. Check this out. He beckons me over toward a small metal sheet by the door. I step closer. Some words are engraved in the front. So you've heard of us. A winking smiley face is punctuated below the text. What the hell? I know, right? He moves toward the door, his tail flicking in an anticipatory sway behind him. I'm surprised he can control that thing. Why don't you be locked? Might as well try. After you, Lieutenant. Don't start. He grasps the handle, and the door opens with ease. Daxton looks over to me once more, and we step inside.